Coming up on WEBN's Road to Opening Day, a new season is here and unprecedented changes are coming to Major League Baseball.
And following a last place finish in 2014, the Red Sox have reloaded for 2015. All that and more on WEBN's Road to Opening Day special right now. Hello and welcome to WEBN's Road to Opening Day special. I'm Mike Lucas.
And I'm Isaac Moore. We begin our journey by going over landmark changes that are coming to Major League Baseball. The league is implementing several rule changes aimed to speed up the game. These rules include managers having to stay in the dugout when challenging a call, hitters having to keep 1 foot in the batter's box at all times during their at-bats, and a set limit for commercial breaks. These changes come a year after the speed of each game grew to a record average of 3 hours and 9 minutes last year. Players who violate these rules are subject to fines of up to $500. And this has been a growing concern as Major League games have gotten steadily longer every single season. In 1980, games averaged just under 2 hours and 38 minutes. That rose to 2 hours and 51 minutes in the 90s, and then in the 2000s, the average game time reached 3 hours. And as we said before, last season, they set a new record with the average game time taking 3 hours and 9 minutes.
For the first time since 1998, Major League Baseball has a new commissioner, and his name is Rob Manfred. Manfred takes over for Bud Selig, who held the position from '98 through the end of the 2014 season. Manfred has been working in baseball since 1987 and was most recently MLB's Chief Operating Officer. For more on this and everything else that's changing in baseball, we go to Lucas Frankel, who sat down with ESPN baseball reporter Pedro Gomez.
New commissioner, Rob Manfred.
Yep.
What are your expectations for him as the new commissioner of baseball?
Yeah, I've known Rob for about 15 years now, and a solid guy. Very much a baseball fan, very much into growing the sport. Even I recognize that if you stay the same, you are being lapped by the other sports. And baseball, I think, suffered from that for a good number of years. And that's why a lot of what's happened has been very positive. And I would suspect that Rob Manfred is going to continue to push the envelope to maybe what we would consider radicalizing, but to just pushing the sport forward.
One of the biggest storylines in baseball going into this year is games are taking too long. Do you think baseball games are too long?
You know, I don't, but I'm a baseball fan. I don't mind sitting through 3 hours, but I recognize a casual fan's inability to sit through a 3-hour game. And I recognize that it has to maybe evolve and maybe shorten up again. The problem with it is that it's not necessarily the game time, it's the commercial breaks. You're talking about 18 breaks over a 9-inning game because it's the top of the first, bottom of the first, top of the second, bottom. So there's 18 breaks, even though it's 9 innings, and you've got pitching changes and things like that. It's a situation that you want to try to rein it in. And so they're experimenting with different areas to try to shorten the game time because let's face it, if you're a family or if you're on a date, whatever it is, a 2-hour and 30-minute game is more appealing than sitting through a 3-hour and 30 game.
One of the possible solutions baseball's coming up with is the pitch clock. Is that kind of the right direction baseball should be going in?
It's always been recognized as a game without a clock, and that's part of the beauty of baseball. In this particular situation, we're not talking about a clock in terms of when it gets to 0, the game's over. So even though they're talking about a pitch clock, I can see the possibility of it being enacted. It's not necessarily the pitchers who are holding up the games, though. A lot of times it's the hitters taking a break between every pitch. And I think a possible solution is, you know what, the clock's at 0, you're free to pitch. And if the batter's not in there, the first time a pitcher throws a strike and now all of a sudden the count's 0-1 and the batter hasn't even stepped in the box, that problem will be eliminated by itself. The batter will be in the box and be ready.
Along with pace of play, another pressing issue in baseball is the abundance of arm injuries throughout the sport. WEBN's Eli Kell Abrams has more.
Arm injuries seem to be becoming an epidemic in Major League Baseball. Entering this season, almost 1/3 of all current pitchers have undergone Tommy John surgery at some point in their careers.
You're always going to have arm injuries because everybody on a baseball field has to throw. Every player in baseball throws, and obviously pitchers throw more than the other guys.
The consensus around the game is that these injuries happen because baseball players are throwing too much.
The overuse syndrome is the biggest culprit in professional baseball. When I say overuse, I mean guys that are throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing, and they break down because the tissues can't hold up to the rigors of the long season and the long spring and so forth and so on.
When you get kind of talent level you have, everybody tries to do more and more, and on top of all the way from growing up from kids, we're playing more. So it's the sheer volume on the elbow is not something that's probably meant for us naturally to be able to throw a baseball that many times.
Monahan says for the sport to overcome these injuries, youth coaches are going to have to lead the charge.
I think the best way to handle this problem and approach the problem is through education. Education with our young coaches, our older coaches, and the guys that work with youth that need to focus and concentrate on care and healthy attitudes and healthy practices when it comes to throwing, especially pitching. And a good sound shoulder arm program, adequate rest periods, and not so necessarily so much a pitch count, but a number of days a week or month that a guy pitches should be adhered to and be very specific.
Major league teams have attempted to make these injuries a thing of the past by limiting pitch counts and innings, but even they haven't had much success. Reporting for WEBN Boston, I'm Eli Kell-Abrams.
In spring training alone, several Major League players have already been forced to undergo Tommy John surgery. This includes Texas Rangers ace Yu Darvish, New York Mets star prospect Zach Wheeler, and Boston Red Sox catcher Christian Vasquez. They will all miss the 2015 season with these injuries. Still ahead on WEBN's Road to Opening Day, we take a closer look at the new-look Boston Red Sox.
And the Toronto Blue Jays are aiming to do something the franchise has not done in over 2 decades. Do not go away.
Last place finishes are unacceptable in Boston, and that's why the team signed Pablo Sandoval, a 3-time World Series champion, to a 5-year, $95 million contract this offseason. Sandoval spent the first 7 years of his career in San Francisco, where he established himself as one of the best postseason hitters in the sport. In fact, Sandoval leads all current players with a .344 career postseason batting average. And amazingly, his performance in the World Series is even better. His .426 career World Series average is second all-time only to David Ortiz. Sandoval hopes to bring that kind of championship pedigree to Beantown.
Try to do the best that I can out there, try to make the fans happy. Try to bring a lot of championship to this team. That's one of the things that I try signing here because I had a good team. So try to do the best out there. Try to be humble and enjoy the time that I'm going to be here.
That wasn't all. The Red Sox also brought back an old friend, Hanley Ramirez. The Sox signed Ramirez to a 4-year, $88 million contract that includes a vesting option for a 5th season worth an additional $22 million. Hanley was brought up in the Red Sox system but was traded away in 2005. He spent the past 3 years with the Dodgers, and now he's back where it all began. Here's Hanley on how he feels to be a Red Sox.
Happy. I can't wait to, my first at bat at Fenway. I'm from the best, fans of the world, and it's gonna be great. That's the main thing I was looking for in the offseason, to go to a winning team. So, and I got the opportunity to come here, and I'm really happy.
For more on the Red Sox and the expectations for the team, we go to Lucas Frankel, who's standing by with WEEI's John Rook. Lucas?
So we are here with WEEI Providence's John Rook, the home of the Boston Red Sox. John, new baseball season. How are you feeling about the Sox?
I wish I could say that I was completely and totally optimistic about the Red Sox. I'm not, because I'm one of those guys that feels like they didn't do enough to go out and get starting pitching throughout the offseason. Now, they might be able to offset that with some of the bats they've picked up in the offseason, but, I guess I'm just not on the freight train yet.
So that the 2 biggest moves from the Red Sox perspective, Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, what do those 2 guys bring to the forefront?
Well, they're going to both bring offense, which is one thing I think the Red Sox discovered they desperately needed because they took a huge hit last year in run production. So, Ramirez hopefully give them an anchor in the outfield since they're going to move him away from the infield as he gets a little bit on in his career. Somewhat ironic that he's ended up back in Boston since this is really where, in this organization, is where he began it all. I think he's going to be enough of protection in the lineup to give David Ortiz a chance to be successful as he moves on, and gets closer in age to the end of his career. And Pablo Sandoval, as you mentioned, here's a guy that, I don't think wows you with his offensive stats, but he wows you, I think, in terms of his ability to come up with big plays or big hits. He can make the key stop when you need it, or he can come up with the big bang when you need it, the big knock, the big RBI, whatever you need. So I think in that regard, those two guys are brought in for their offense and their presence, and I think they will contribute.
David Ortiz is going to be 39 this year. He had another unbelievable year last year, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. How long can he keep this going for?
I guess as long as he wants to. David Ortiz, I'm getting ready to assume, is just a freak of nature. If he's able to continue doing it at, age 39, 40, however long it's going to take him. Look, I think realistically speaking, this might very well be his last year. Especially, with the way his contract situation shapes up. But, if he pumps out, a 270 average and can give you 30 home runs and drive in 100, why wouldn't you keep a guy like that around as long as he's got that kind of production? So, listen, milk it for all you can right now. If he can stay healthy, let's go with it. And I see no reason why he can't do that, at least initially right now.
Can the Sox win without a true ace?
No.
Why not? It's kind of been done before.
I guess it could be. I'm not convinced that the Red Sox can do it. I'm not convinced yet that a guy like Clay Buchholz can, be the kind of guy that, as an ace where, whenever you're in a losing streak and it's your turn to pitch, you got to step up and win a game. I'm not sure he can do that. So, Clay Buchholz to me has been the human rain delay anyway for his slowness and his methodical play out on the mound, and that's been infuriating for me because, frankly, as someone who has coached baseball at a much lower level, high school, AAU level, I'm all about rhythm and getting guys into a rhythm, and I think my younger pitchers have always been able to go better with a rhythm. I would like to see him try that. And then if he tells me or he shows us that that's not the case, then all right, I'll back off. But until I see that, and I don't know if the coaches are giving him that kind of routine or not, I have my doubts as to whether or not he can be that kind of a guy for the Red Sox. And so I've got big question marks right there at the front end of the rotation.
So the Sox, they go from last place to winning the World Series, back to last place. So if you go along with the pattern, Sox win it all this year, but what are your expectations?
I think that they can be competitive in the division. I mean, everything that I've said negatively about the pitching staff, I think they're going to be a candidate to win 90 games. If they can get to the 90 point, they're going to be in the race one way or the other for a wild card spot. And I think that would be a step back in the right direction that Red Sox fans can reasonably expect.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the time, John.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate it.
You got it.
Russell Martin is coming home. The Toronto Blue Jays signed the catcher to a 5-year, $85 million contract this offseason. Martin was born just outside Toronto, and now he's playing for the team he grew up watching. He spent the past 2 seasons in Pittsburgh, where he helped lead the Pirates to its first postseason appearance in over 2 decades. Here's Martin on what it's like to be playing for his hometown team.
It's, it's fun. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to play for a team they cheered on when they were kids. And, I think I'll know more once I actually play a meaningful game in Toronto. But right now, I'm just enjoying the preparation.
To cap off its offseason, the Blue Jays brought in one of the game's best all-around players, Josh Donaldson. Toronto acquired Donaldson from the A's in return for Brett Lawrie and 3 prospects. Donaldson has been one of the game's most productive players over the past 2 seasons. His 53 home runs and 191 RBIs during that span lead all Major League third basemen. Donaldson will join Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion to create arguably the best middle-of-the-order lineup in the game. The Blue Jays have been in this situation before, having high expectations after a big offseason, but the team is vowing to have a better outcome this time around. The only thing that's consistent in the AL East is inconsistency. In the last 5 years, 4 different teams have claimed the division crown. The only team that hasn't, the Toronto Blue Jays. But that could all change in 2015 if things go according to plan.
It's been a good spring so far. There's a lot of optimism, as with every team. But this is a better team than we've been running out there the last couple of years.
For the second time in 3 years, Toronto made major acquisitions in the offseason. The Blue Jays added Josh Donaldson and Russell Martin to an already potent offense.
All it did was add a couple more strong pieces to already good offensive lineup, so we feel real good about that. One thing we're going to do, we know, is we're going to score runs.
And unlike what happened in 2013, this Blue Jays squad is determined not to let outside expectations affect them.
Normally when people have high expectations from you, it's because they think you're good enough, and if that's the case, it should be the upper hand.
They know they're pretty good. And when you think about building a team around Bautista and Encarnacion, it's a pretty good team. And now you bring in Donaldson, who's going to be an MVP candidate every season. You bring in one of the best catchers in baseball in Russell Martin. I think everybody's encouraged, but nobody's ready to pop the champagne just yet.
The Blue Jays will begin their attempt to end a league-long 22-year postseason drought when they take on the Yankees to start the season on April 6th. For WEBN, I'm Mike Lucas. When we come back, we review some of the biggest free agent moves of the offseason.
And the Yankees have a replacement for Derek Jeter. Find out how Didi Gregorius is handling the pressure of replacing an all-time great.
Cha-ching! That's the sound ringing inside the head of Giancarlo Stanton these days. The Miami Marlins have given Stanton the largest contract in the history of North American professional sports. Miami signed Stanton to a 13-year, $325 million contract. The contract, though, is heavily backloaded, with Stanton making $218 million over the final 7 years and just $117 million over the first 6. Stanton led the National League with 37 home runs last season, including 7 that traveled farther than 450 feet. No other team hit more than 5. Torrey Hunter is coming back to the place where it all began, Minnesota. The Twins have brought back Hunter to the Twin Cities on a 1-year, $10.5 million contract. Hunter spent the first 11 years of his career in Minnesota, but departed following the 2007 season. So, Torrey, what's it like to be back in Minnesota?
Man, it's cool. It's cool to be back where it all started. I grew up here and learned how to be a man, learned how to be a professional baseball player here, and I went on a little spiritual journey after 2007 and played with the Angels and Tigers. Now I'm back, and just good to try to finish my career here.
Replacing a legend is never easy. Didi Gregorius, good luck trying to replace Derek Jeter. The Yankees acquired Gregorius from the Diamondbacks over the offseason. He's 25 years old and spent the last 2 seasons in Arizona. Here's Didi on replacing one of the Yankees' all-time legends.
Like I said before, they gave me an opportunity to be here, so it's really nice for me to follow his footsteps and see what he's done and trying to be as good as he was.
This season marks the first time since 1994 that Derek Jeter will not play a game in Yankee pinstripes. And for people associated with the team, that's a tough pill to swallow. Tashani Whitlow is live in Boston with more. Tashani?
That's right. Derek Jeter, also known as Captain Clutch, is one of the first New York Yankees to have over 3,000 hits. Well, he retired at the end of last season, and now the Yankees must move forward without the shortstop. The longtime shortstop and captain of the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter, has retired after nearly 2 decades in Major League Baseball, and his former teammates are feeling the loss.
Jeter, obviously the greatest leader of all time, and he'll be missed.
Obviously a great impact and a great force for us, as all of us as a leader, even the staff. And there's definitely a hole in the environment. We miss him dearly. You keep looking around out there at shortstop and looking for number 2, and you don't see him.
Gene Monahan, the former head athletic trainer for the New York Yankees, tells WEBN he thinks about Jeter often.
You look for his antics in the clubhouse, which were very quiet but very poignant. And you look for his smile and his good times, and even during the tough times, he was always there supporting everyone, young and old. We miss that.
During spring training, fans noticed the missing shortstop as well.
It's kind of like been this in years past, where if Derek Jeter isn't here, it's like the Yankees didn't show up. And I wonder if it's going to feel like that all year long when the Yankees go on the road. That's probably where it's going to stick out the most.
Can this team make it back to its winning ways without Jeter? Opening day for the Yankees is April 6th. They play the Toronto Blue Jays. Live in Boston for WEBN, I'm Tashani Whitlow.
Thanks, Tashani. Here are some other notable moves around Major League Baseball. The Nationals signed Max Scherzer to a 7-year, $210 million contract. But maybe the biggest offseason signing was when John Lester chose Chicago over Boston. He signed a 6-year, $155 million contract with the Cubs. And in the reigning home run champion Nelson Cruz, he's teaming up with Robinson Cano in Seattle after the Mariners signed him to a 4-year, $57 million contract. When WEBN's Road to Opening Day returns, we'll speak with Red Sox video coordinator Luke Frazier about what goes on behind the scenes at Fenway Park.
And we'll take you to Fenway for Red Sox Opening Day. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Going to Red Sox games at Fenway Park is an experience in and of itself.
But it's up to Red Sox video coordinator Luke Frazier to make sure fans are entertained throughout the game.
Meet Luke Frazier. He's a video coordinator for the Red Sox, and that means he's responsible for entertaining fans during games at Fenway Park.
But a majority of the stuff that I focus on is game day entertainment. So when you go to Fenway, you see the 3 video boards, overlook those, overlook the content that goes on those during games, and make sure that all the content's correct and that we're providing the fans with the best experience possible in terms of video entertainment.
He says the secret to the job is to imagine yourself being a fan in the stands.
You have to put yourself in the seats during a game and think, if I were an 8-year-old kid, would I like to see this music video being played during the game? And that it's a weird thing to think about from an outside angle, but once you've been in the thick of it for a year, you get a hang of it.
And getting the hang of it means working in a live TV environment, doing anything to hold fans' attention.
We have a switcher, like a director, we have a producer, and we have about 10 to 20 people working in there a game.
Along with working for his favorite professional sports team, he even got a 2013 World Series ring when the Sox won it all.
I still don't believe that I got a ring, to be honest with you. It's kind of mind-blowing. It's in the safety deposit box right now. Like, I don't know what to do with it. It's something that I'll bring with me wherever I go.
Frazier works alongside 5 other video coordinators to make all 81 Red Sox home games as fun as possible for the fans. Reporting from Fort Myers, Lucas Frankel, WEBN.
It's that time of year again, opening day. And for more on that, we go live to Fenway Park, where Meredith Berry is standing by with all the buzz surrounding Red Sox opening day. Meredith?
With sunny skies and mild temperatures, the Red Sox kicked off opening day against the Washington Nationals.
It's day like today, the weather, the sunshine, it's a great day for baseball.
I love baseball. You know, it's a pastime. It's the greatest game in the world.
The greatest game in the world came back to Fenway Park for opening day, and everyone's excited about the upcoming season.
I grew up with the Red Sox. It's they call them the cardiac kids. Now you know why. They pick you up, they let you down.
There's no fans quite like Red Sox fans. No matter what happens, they're here to cheer them on.
We'll have to wait and see. Oh no, we're going all the way.
Even fans of the Washington Nationals love Fenway Park.
It's American history. I mean, especially here at Fenway Park. I mean, we don't get to play the Red Sox a lot, so it's kind of cool that my hometown team's up here in Boston.
There's no denying the magic of one of the oldest ballparks in America. Live from Fenway Park, I'm Meredith Berry for WEBN News.
Thank you, Meredith. Now, Isaac, how excited are you for the upcoming baseball season?
I'm very excited, Mike. I think there's a lot of interesting storylines this season, specifically here in Boston with the Red Sox. Can they bounce back from their last place finish last year? It'd be fun to watch.
No, I looked at the Yankees' schedule moving forward. I see 162 wins for the Yanks.
I don't know about that, Mike. I'm thinking more like 62 wins would be more accurate.
Well, that's our show. I'm Mike Lucas.
And I'm Isaac Moore. Thank you so much for watching WEBN's Road to Opening Day. Enjoy the 2015 season, everybody.